Oh my God, you guys come in here, sit down, and shut the door. I know you are still reeling from the federal government dropping the most emotionally charged offenses against Diddy. And I put my ear to the ground and I'm seeing what is being said. But here's the thing we have to talk about just keep your mind open because at this point, we have to talk about everything, not just the things that we know, not just the things we want to believe, but what actually may be happening now. We need to talk about Diddy and how what the feds did might be his road to pardon. Okay. Here's the truth. Everyone's whispering, but no one's saying outright, did did he cut a secret deal with the feds? I know, I know, I know, but hear me out. Just because the government just be, well, okay, hear me out. Let me organize the thoughts. Let's get into this because the government just dropped all the state charges: kidnapping, attempted arson, aiding, smacks, trafficking gone, and all that's left are federal charges. And if you've been paying attention, you already know you can't be pardoned for state convictions, but you can be pardoned for federal ones. And our president has signaled that if he sees evidence that Sean Diddy Combs was being treated unfairly, he would consider a pardon. Those were his words, not mine. Google it. And I didn't want to believe the whispers at first, but y'all, they're getting louder. What if the feds want this case to be federal only? And what if did he gave them something or someone behind closed doors? And if so, what does this mean for justice, for the victims, and for the truth? Don't worry, y'all. I got the receipts. I got the legal play by play, and I'm going to walk you through everything. The headline won't tell you. Y'all, let's go, okay? Now, just to catch you up to speed, if you have no
Present,
idea what I'm
and no
talking
longer
about,
has a voice
late
who will
money
pursue justice
prosecutors
for her
dropped some of
accusation.
the most dramatic
As of the taken
charges
against Diddy,
against
no
Sean
expansion
Diddy
of the
Combs.
investigation,
You guys
no
know that was
isolation
the
orders,
attempted
no
kidnapping
equipment
under
access,
California
no
and New York
suspension of
law,
attorney
attempted
communication.
arson, and aiding SMEX trafficking. Okay, now officially they're calling it streamlining of jury instructions, but off the record, in back rooms, people are nervous, they're whispering, and they're wondering because this isn't just about legal strategy. This might be about secret deal. Think about it. The state charges were the most graphic, most specific, and the hardest to erase with a pin stroke. You can't get a presidential pardon for state conviction, but for federal charges, you can, okay, since they've erased all state and they only leave federal quest standing. You have to question, did did he hand over names, locations, or footage that helped build a bigger case? And is this the price of playing with power at this level? Protection in exchange for silence? Because here's the dangerous truth. If this was a quiet cooperation deal, it helped Diddy in more ways than one. First, it makes him look less dangerous. See you guys. No kidnapping, no arson, just your friendly neighborhood pervert. Second, it creates the appearance that the case is weakening, just appearance softening, public outrage, just in time for the defense's big finish, which is their closing argument. And third, and this is the part people are forgetting, it opens the door to a future pardon. Remember, federal crimes can be erased by a presidential signature, but state convictions sit. So the question becomes, did the federal government just remove only thing standing between Diddy and a clean political escape? And while we're asking these questions, listen, where, because some people are like, oh, don't worry, the state's going to bring up. Well, I have a question. Where are the state prosecutors? Why haven't California and New York DA stepped up and said, we'll pursue those charges ourselves? Their silence speaks volumes, and I'm going to walk you through everything, whether it's legally possible for Diddy to cut a deal without public knowledge, how a presidential pardon could play out, and why the absence of state level action right now is either strategy or surrender. You guys stay with me, because once you understand this map, you'll see exactly what path they might be paying. Okay, okay. Let walk you through this like it's a legal trademark. The feds dropped only state-based crimes, not federal. Attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding smacks trafficking. They kept the federal, recall federal smacks trafficking, and forced labor obstruction. Justice now, what's the legal significance of that? State crimes can't be pardoned by the US president. Federal crimes can. The fact that only unpardoned but and no charges were removed raises the questions why and why. Now some people said, now here's the thing you have to keep in mind, aren't state
Present,
prosecutions,
and no
they're
longer has
federal
a voice who will
prosecutors
pursue
trying
justice
to
for her
use
accusation.
state criminal statutes
As of the
to
taken
help
against
make their
Diddy,
case.
no
Now, that
expansion
was
of the
rare.
investigation,
It's legal,
no
but
isolation
it's
orders,
also very messy.
no equipment
Why
access,
did they include
no
them?
suspension of attorney
Because
communication.
sometimes state definitions cover gaps that federal law doesn't, especially fair when it comes to violent or coercive conduct. So the million-dollar question, if Diddy is cooperating, why drop the state-based counts? Well, here's the plausible cooperation logic. State law-based charges are easier to drop quietly. They aren't the headline. Federal charges, like RICO and trafficking, dropping them gives the defense a visible win without touching the big federal accounts, which the feds still need for leverage, and it signals progress in cooperation without confirming it. No paperwork has to be filed publicly at this stage, so the drop charges may have been a symbolic trade-off. You help us with X, Y, and Z, and we'll make sure those state charges don't follow you after the trial. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people said, like, Robin, my girl Robin, said, but wouldn't cooperation be on public record? Well, you guys, yes and no, or actually not yet, and sometimes not ever, depending on how the deal is structured. Cooperation agreements are often under seal to protect against active investigations, ongoing targets who might not know they're being watched, and safety of the cooperator. The public usually doesn't find out until sentencing, when the prosecution says Mr. Combs provided substantial assistance. We recommend a lighter sentence, under 5K1. Taking it to legal deals with cooperators are often sealed under Rule 6E of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. Grand jury materials, informant deals, and cooperation agreements can be kept secret for national security, safety, or investigative reasons. United States veto courts actually upheld, and this is a 1995 Second Circuit decision. So it rules this case courts upheld sealing cooperation deals to protect identities and preserve ongoing investigations. So yes, Diddy could be cooperating without us ever seeing it publicly. And again, don't forget, co-op with feds doesn't always look like testifying. It can mean providing names, documents, devices, and even helping decode encrypted evidence in cases like Operation Varsity Blues. Celebrities helped without testifying, but their cooperation was rewarded behind the scenes. This keeps reputations intact and protects the government's leverage in ongoing investigations. Now, the state may stay quiet on purpose. State prosecutors in New York and California have said nothing about refiling or pursuing these drop charges. Why possibilities? Let's go through them. The fast them to stand down during an ongoing broader federal probe. If Diddy is helping build bigger cases, filing state charges too early could expose cooperating witnesses, including Diddy, and political coordination between the DOD and the state AGs is common when elite defendants are involved. Now, this does mirror silent cooperation deals in major cases. Tekashi 69, He cooperated
present,
secretly.
and no longer
Feds
has a
minimized
voice who
his
will pursue
charges.
justice
No
for her
early leaks.
accusation.
Public found out
As of
after
the Hagen against
sentencing.
Diddy,
Let's also
no
not
expansion of the
forget
investigation,
Sammy,
no
the
isolation
Bull
orders,
Gravano's case
no
murder
equipment
charges
access,
dropped
no
because
suspension
he
of
gave up
attorney
the
communication.
Antagambino hierarchy. We see the pattern: drop some charges, now protect informant, cash out later. And let's also not forget that the presidential pardon angle is real. Trump pardoned multiple federal criminals with no public reasoning, including Rob Bagoli, the former Illinois governor convicted of corruption, Michael Flynn, who actually lied to the FBI, and Kodak Black and Lil Wayne under federal gun charges. If Diddy is only convicted on federal charges and keeps political connection strong, Trump or even a future president could wipe the all out away in the future. That's why the removal of state charges matters so much. There's also strategic optics. Listen, they are saying that a softened defendant makes pardon easier. There's no kidnapping, no arson, no physical violence, and charges anymore. The public of opt shift from monster editor to music mogul who made mistakes. It's a softer image. It makes it easier for a future president to justify a pardon, especially if Diddy claims he was targeted or canceled. You guys, this is a gamble, but we have to be honest. If you look at legal precedences, we've seen it before. Similar federal simplifications were made. In Young Thug's trial, the overcomplication led to chaos, and in the Harvey Weinstein retrial, feds narrowed the scope. When cases got too emotionally driven or shaky, the strategy is go big or go home. But when you lose nuance, you also risk losing the jury. You guys, again, we are on edge. We're going into court today. They are going to have a legal battle from 12-hour to 5. The feds just quietly removed the only charges that couldn't be erased by a president's pen, and no one's saying why. And did he gave them names, documents, or passwords? That deal could stay still forever. But what's not sealed is the fact that the state is saying silent, and that silence may be the loudest clue yet. You guys, listen, I'm going to be dropping a bunch of videos today. We're going to get into this. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna have another video up probably by the time you are done listening to this. I will talk to you guys soon. Alright, stay strong. Diddy's going down, but we need to make sense of what's going on, and I hope these videos are helping you along the way. I'll talk to you all soon.